Hello. In this video, we are going to be introducing slope fields and sketching slope fields. So in our previous videos, we were able to solve differential equations by separating our variables. But what if we can't separate our variables in our differential equation? Or what if our differential equation just isn't solvable? One of the things we can do is draw a slope field. So a slope field is a graphical general solution to a differential equation. Slope fields allow us to visualize the general shape of solution curves. So if we look at example 1, now first thing I want to point out, yes, this differential equation is separable, but I wanted to start with a simple example. So the way we draw a slope field is we look at the points that they've given us on our graph, and for every point, we want to draw in our slope. So for this first example, I like to make a chart. Now, if you can do this in your head, that's totally fine. But let's start with some of our x and y values. So I might start with 0, 0. So at the point 0, 0, what is dy dx? Well, I know dy dx is x squared, so 0 squared is 0. So at 0, 0, I'm going to draw a 0 slope. And we're going to repeat this process for all of our other points on this graph. So I like to think about what are the trends. Now, if dy dx only depends on x, notice everywhere where x is 0, my slope is also going to be 0. So I'm going to do 0 slopes everywhere where x equals 0. Now, how about when x equals 1? That means our dy dx, x squared, is going to be 1 squared, which is 1. So everywhere where x equals 1, I'm going to draw a slope of 1. Now, when you draw these, I recommend make your slopes of 0 and 1 and -1 as spot on as possible, and then make all of your other slopes relative to those slopes. So for example, when I get to x equals 2, everywhere where x equals 2, dy dx is going to be 4. So that needs to be quite a bit steeper than our slopes of 1. So make those steeper. All right, how about when x equals -1? -1 squared is +1. So everywhere where x equals -1, we're still going to have a +1 slope. So it takes a little bit of time, but we are filling in those slopes. And then everywhere where x is -2, our slope is +4. So I want to make sure these are steeper than my slopes of 1. And we just graphed a slope field. Now, if we look below, this is the same slope field, but I have more points included. So they may give you a slope field and ask you to draw a particular solution, and they'll give you the point. So for number 2, your point is 0, 1. I'm going to do this in pink. Find 0, 1 on your graph. And to draw the particular solution, all you are doing is following the slopes and drawing through the graph. So as long as it looks reasonable, they're going to give you credit for this. I'll do the second one in green. This one wants you to draw through 0, 3. That's right here on your graph. Make sure you're drawing all the way through your graph to get full credit. Let's do a couple more examples. So same thing for this one, our differential equation dy dx equals x plus y. Now notice that this one is not separable. So for this one, we would have to do something other than separating variables and integrating both sides. So this is one where we reasonably could be asked to make a slope field. So same thing as before, make a chart. and figure out your slopes at all the points they've given you on the graph. So I like to start with the origin. So at 0, 0, my slope is 0. Okay, now it's going to be x plus y. So if I think about negative 1, 1, my slope is also going to be 0. And how about at negative 2, 2, my slope is also going to be 0. And at 1, negative 1, my slope is 0. 2, negative 2, my slope is 0. So just like before, it's good to think about the trends. Let's do 0, 1. My slope is going to be 1. And negative 1, 2, my slope is going to be 1. And we can continue this trend. So we kind of have a diagonal trend going on. Let's do 1, 1. I'm going to make another chart. Okay, so let's do 1, 1. My slope is 2, so I'm going to make sure that I'm steeper than my 1 slopes. At 0, 2, my slope is also 2. So this continues. That might be a little too steep. All right, at 1, 2, my slope is 3. So I just want to make sure I am getting steeper. Let's fill in the bottom left. So let's do at negative 1, 0, my slope is negative 1. So now we're negative 1. And at 0, negative 1, my slope is negative 1. And we want to continue this. At negative 2, 0, my slope is negative 2. So I need to be steeper. And it's going to be negative 2 along this diagonal line. Negative 2, negative 1, my slope is negative 3. So just like on the top right, we get steeper as we go across. So just try to make those steeper relative to the others. Okay, so there's one example. Let's do another one. Notice that this one is also not separable, and they gave us fewer points to use. That's okay. Just fill in the points that they're asking you to fill in. So make a chart. I'm going to start at 0, 0. Plug in 0, 0 into your differential equation. We get negative 1. I'm going to plug in 1, 0. That's going to be 1 plus 0 minus 1, which is 0. And that's going to be the same thing for negative 1, 0. That's going to be negative 1 squared is positive 1. Okay, if we do 0, 1, that's also going to be 0. 0, negative 1 is going to be 0. 1, 1, that's going to be 1 plus 1 minus 1, which is 1. And negative 1, negative 1, that's also going to be 1 plus 1 minus 1 after we square those, so that's going to be 1. And it's going to be the same for 1, negative 1, and negative 1, 1. So those are a few examples of drawing slope fields. Thank you for watching.